You're on mute.
What's up, everybody? It's Leo and Josh, man, with another episode of 713 Football, man. Listen, today we're going to be breaking down some things that happened in the Steelers game, things we can look forward to in the Patriots game, man. But first of all, make sure y'all are having a blessed weekend. You know what I'm saying? We ready for another weekend of playoff football, man. Josh, how you feeling tonight, bro?
Man, feeling good, feeling great. Can't wait for this absolute slobber knocker of a game that's about to come up, and it's all gonna start with what we saw, last this last game, and kind of moving forward. And I hope everyone is having a great week. And man, I can't wait.
All right, so let's talk about this game, man. It was pretty sloppy, offensively for sure. There were a lot of bright moments, and honestly, there were a lot of really good things I think we can take into next week with Christian Kirk proving that he can still separate down the field. I think that with Nico Collins pretty much being ruled out at this point, unless a miracle happens, I think that Christian Kirk can definitely be a viable target for CJ and the Texans offense, man. And as well, like, everybody played good. I think, obviously Dalton Schultz has been like a good target this year, as well as, Jaden Higgins, particularly at the end of the year, man. So, Josh, what did you see from the offense, good and bad, in the Steelers? Let's just start off with that.
Yeah, it was man, it was super refreshing to kind of see a game where they came out, they said, you know we have to run the ball for the quarterback, and it played out even more and more the more we watch it that they had to run the ball in order to win the game, right? But man, it coming out running 64% of the time on first down is crazy to me for like the way we've kind of seen the inability of Kaylee to kind of decide on an identity in general, right? So I think that ability to kind of set that in, the success they had, 45% success rate on run plays, and then 31 design run plays. I know this is Leo, we've been talking about consistently that we just want to see a game where they really lean into that shit and like see what happens. And hope I know we were both hoping that when you do that, it would unlock the quarterback in a way that would allow him to really get a lot of big plays, but in reality, it provided that safety net for the quarterback to where he could go out there and fumble the ball 5 freaking times and still win the game and still win 30-6, and still have a game with that kind of domination. But the other big point I saw was game plan perfection, right? I think the way they attacked the singular big weakness on the Steelers defense in terms of slot defense, like Steelers are one of three teams that give up 9 or more yards out of the slot to slot receivers, and between the Commanders, Bears, and them, and they just kind of hit him over the head over and over again, and it created a freaking Christian Kirk like career game basically. He hasn't had a game like this at this stage in his entire life, damn near, with 8 catches, 9 targets. You guys know 144 a touchdown, and that's not even counting like the play that got knocked away where it was a slot deep ball to Noel, right? That should have been completed if Titus didn't get his ass whooped and then CJ hadn't missed the throw there, right? Because he had enough separation. But like across the board, I thought it was a game where the offense played, in general as a unit, the offense played well outside of the quarterback, but the quarterback played at such a terrible level. And I'm sure we'll get more and more into CJ and kind of what needs to change. And I won't go completely like off the handle. Almost dropped the F bomb there. Um, I won't go completely off the handle the way that probably is do serve. But man, the way that everything played around it, especially the fact that Nico was a damn near non-factor in this game, especially going out after he went out with a concussion, right? The fact that we were able to play that balance and that dynamic across the board and kind of just really just play that complementary to our defense outside the quarterback is really encouraging for me, assuming that the quarterback can then, and we'll talk about what he needs to change, but can adapt and kind of play more at kind of the middle level moving forward.
Yeah, so let's talk a little bit about Christian Kirk's performance. Man, 8 receptions, 144 yards, 1 touchdown, 18 yards a catch on 9 targets. So he was extremely efficient, And honestly, on the first pass of the game, I think it was to Nico on the slant route where, CJ almost got him killed on that play. I felt like, I thought he might have been
Yeah.
concussed on that play, which, whatever. But yeah, man, Kirk got wide open deep on a corner route from the slot on that play as well. So definitely, I'm sure that they saw that there was a mismatch and all that stuff from early in the game. Um, Yeah, so that's one thing we hope that can continue, man. 100%. Now, let's move ahead to the run game. I mean, this was kind of what I was not expecting us to do as well as we did. But I mean, honestly, when you kind of think about it, like this line that we have now, I know everyone wants to say that, because of how last year went, what I'm saying, and then how this year started, right, that the line has been bad. But over the past few weeks, I think that might have been the first game CJ got sacked in a while. You know what I mean? On top of that, man, like Woody Marks goes for, let me get it right. So 19 carries, 112 yards, man. And a lot of these runs were, there was some plays that he had to make because it wasn't blocked great. But man, there was a lot of plays where, what I'm saying, they were like guys was working to the second level. And I mean, honestly, Dalton Schultz did a good job helping Trent Brown seal the edge, and working to the second level. There's a play I have where Cade Stover worked straight to the second level and won their blocks, and they both were moving well in space. It was a complete dominant game on the ground, man, which is something that I was really excited about, Josh, man. Do you think this is something that's sustainable, or is this a one-off?
Man, if you were to tell me coming into the Steelers game with what we talked about and how we kind of both kind of viewed this Steelers defensive line, I didn't really think this was going to be possible. And it's kind of interesting. You have Andrews at center, right, where he came out and he did not have a good game in pass pro, right? 5 pressures, 2 quick pressures, but he kind of made up for everything in the run game, which is why they kind of leaned into it and leaned into it. And guess what? They went and took a break and then they leaned into it more, right? And in some ways, the defense playing so well allowed the offense to get in more and more of a rhythm because it allowed to land body blow after body blow after body blow. And I think that was one of the bigger factors we saw why the run game just kind of went ape shit crazy at the end of the game, right? Because I think their defense finally started to break down. We always talk about it on our side where our run game has to be a certain way, our offense has to be possess the ball in a certain way in order for our defense to play where it needed to. But man, they are so dependent on those edge rushers creating pressure on the edge and not taking those big body shots like they had over and over again in that game that you saw it wear down, and you really saw a super encouraging situation where we were able to really beat on their edges and run at their edges and set everything up. And then once they started to have to overcompensate and maybe move the alignment of their DTs a little bit, we were then able to cut back, and you saw Woody Mark starting to gut them up the middle in situations. So I think it was cool. Like you did see in pass pro with specifically O-line wise, and I know we got a super chat on the O-line. Specifically, but like I think they did a good job of protecting and helping to the right side in pass pro. And I think, but they also did a good job of moving CJ around and kind of creating all. And I think a reason I mentioned that with the run game is by creating that moving target, by kind of really having a clear vision of what you're doing in the pass game, it set everything up to where there wasn't that kind of, that break from the physicality. There was still aggressiveness and tempo in the pass game, which didn't allow them to kind of relax at all, like you can sometimes get, because guys always want to rush to pass it before a run game, but the body blow after body blow, and it was really just enjoyable to watch. And I'm hopeful that, especially with Nico potentially not playing moving forward, that it can be replicated. Now, will it be tougher against a overall, like I think better unit in general defensively, like across the board. They got better tacklers in the secondary. Linebackers, it's not a huge difference between linebackers. I think it's similar, but they have some more they have players that can penetrate better on defense, so I think it'll be interesting kind of how that shifts. I think that more of a thing that we're going to see is like, all right, how does our defensive play? Can they stay off the field? Can they create those short situations to give us more and more chances to get beat on them? Because they're not a big D line. They're not a massive D line. I know they got Tonga back, but I think there's some matchups there that we can exploit with how aggressive they like to play. But man, I am encouraged with how Woody Marks looks, and I just hope the most important thing, maybe even more important, I may eat my words, more important than Nico Collins, is Woody Marks staying healthy throughout this run. And that's going to be the engine that's going to allow us. And it's crazy that we're saying this about, was he a third round running back, right? He was third round?
I think it was a fourth round pick.
Fourth. Okay. Yeah. The fact that we're talking about that versus our receiver just kind of tells you where we're at with the quarterback and the offense and kind of the cohesion of the team in general.
Yeah, so let's first of all shout out to Frank, man. We really appreciate you been here from the beginning, man. So Texas O line took the Steelers lunch money. Yeah, 100%, man. And I think I kind of this is a last minute addition, but I have a couple plays that I'm gonna play while we're talking. Yeah, so this kind of just show y'all what we are kind of talking about, man. As you can see, just a lot of vertical push from the offensive line and the duo blocks, and I think as Josh said and preview like in the game preview, man, in the preview game, what there are Jesus, I'm having a complete meltdown over here. Like, yeah, I mean, we both predicted basically that they were going to use the jumbo sets, right, with Blake Fisher,
Hmm.
and that was a huge part, as you can see, in this, man. I mean, I think the whole moving to the duo scheme, man. I mean, look at it. I mean, Woody Marks isn't even getting touched crossing the line, on this play. I have another one right here, similar type of thing. Another huge set, man. Three tight end set with one of the tight ends being a tackle. You know, this is actually one of the plays that I felt like Andrews didn't block that well, man. But Woody, but everybody else did, and he was able to get outside and make a play. So I mean, this is even better. You can kind of see, Josh. I'd like to see your opinion. Yeah, I mean, he gets slammed by Benson right there,
Yeah.
but yeah, it is what it is, man. We made a play. You know,
He does his job at such a low level, but
yeah,
he knows his
he got in the
responsibilities.
way.
He
He
can't
can't
give
get
up the
beat.
right
Yeah,
shoulder.
right,
Yeah.
exactly. And
Right.
he it looked pretty terrible, but he did his job, and that's all we can ask. So yeah, man. Now, is this sustainable, man? Like, listen, I mean, it's gonna be tough. I didn't think that this was possible, but when you think about it, man, when you think about all the moves Casario made and how much flack he got initially from it, right? You know, I mean, man, let's be serious here, bro. I mean, sometimes it can take an offensive line until week 15, week 14 to solidify itself. And, you know, that's kind of seems like what happened for us. I mean, at that point, CJ, I think he went 3 weeks without getting sacked. The run game has always been up or down, but this run game, in the last playoff game, it looked really in sync. I don't have everybody's PFF grades, and I know, people are finicky on whether or not to trust them or not. But I thought that Ed Ingram, when this was, I think, one of Casario's most like, I guess, one of his most criticized moves, right, was putting Ingram on the was getting Ingram and then starting him basically, right. I mean, for him to come in and post that kind of a run blocking grade in a playoff game and be solid in pass protection to me was pretty much like the chef's kiss on the season, man. Trent Brown. I mean, how many people thought? I didn't think Trent Brown was gonna come in and play significant snaps, man. I think he's coming off a patella band injury, man. And I mean, man, I mean, he did a great job, this week, against T.J. Watt and Highsmith and those guys, man. So I mean, we already Ursery, we've all seen how he's grown. I mean, what another ballsy move to let go of Tonsil. I know that the plan wasn't necessarily to start Ursery, but to draft him where they did, and then for him to end up beating out Cam Robinson, man. I mean, I'm just so excited that we did end up getting a good offensive line. Now, am I saying this is a great offensive line and that we're gonna just do this to every team that we play? No, but I mean, that type of a performance, man, to be that strong running the ball literally from the beginning to the end of the game, basically, man. That's something that our last offensive line configuration last year never was able to do. And even points this year, it never seemed like it was possible. So, and yeah, moving forward, I think CJ definitely needs that run game, man. But let's enough about the offense, man. Let's go in and talk about the defense, man, because that was one of the best defensive performances. I mean, definitely in Texans history. I'd almost say that defensive performance is almost up there with like the Legion of Boom, one of the Legion of Boom, one of the Legion of Boom's performances against Aaron Rodgers, right? From when they forced all those when their quarterback turned the ball over like 4 or 5 times, and then he ended up, winning. They still won the game, man. So, Josh, man, when you think about the Texans defense, man, and what they did and what they proved on Sunday, man. Well, Monday actually. What do you think, man? Like, do you think that this is as good as as good as people are saying? Like, do you believe that this is like an all-time defense potentially?
Yes, absolutely. It's funny. I was just listening to Lance Zierlein talk about this, and he spoke with I think it was before the Chargers game. He spoke with Daniel Jeremiah, who was in Baltimore from I believe '03 to '06 in that range, and he asked them like historically, like I know you see them like first of all, Jeremiah reached out and was talking to him, and it's like man, these dudes fly around the ball in a way that's just absolutely just insane to watch. Like the guy we saw in this game where a guy would miss a tackle, and there would be like six guys that freaking teleport right in front of him. So it was like a 3rd and 11, and he caught a 4-yard pass, and he didn't have a single shot in hell to like turn it up and get that first down. Now part of that was Pittsburgh's team speed, but man, I think the one stat that kind of just really just shocks you to the core, or is like really kind of exciting moving forward, and it's something we've seen over and over again, but I think it was really important because coming in, what like teams know that you have to run the ball against us, right? That's the only chance you have. And I know the Steelers are weird because they sit back and shotgun, and Rodgers is too old and crickety to kind of get down under center and kind of drive off and like hand the ball off, and he's kind of weird about that. And I know we didn't play Darnell Washington and this and that and all that blah blah bullshit. But like in reality, it comes down to this number right here. Average third down distance, right? The Texans had a 5.5, and anything like for reference, anything under 7 is like real is good. Anything under 6 is like outstanding. So then you flip that on the other side, the tail of the game, Steelers had averaged 11.1 yards to go on third down. That's only 12. It's total of 12 snaps of third and long, which is 3rd and 7 or more, right? And they were only 2 of 14 on third down on those situations. So 26% success rate, which is crazy. And you tie that all in, you're like, oh, we must have done all this crazy shit, right? To surprise Rodgers and to create these situations that he wasn't ready. Nah, bro, we blitzed 4 times all game. Like straight up blitz 4 times all game. And not only that, we only played man against Rodgers 6 times, and it was only for 4 yards. So he's one of 6 for 4 yards. And then you're saying, okay, well maybe he got us on those 4 times blitzing because Rodgers is great. Nah, no chance. He was 2 of 3 for 3 yards versus the blitz, right? So we sacked him 4 times. He got an intentional grounding, a pick six. I think he fumbled it. I mean, it all just kind of started spinning out. I can't even remember. It feels like a fever dream with what we did to them, right? And it was like historically bad. Like the 6 points for Rodgers was his lowest offensive output in a playoff game in his career. Like if this is his last game, he's literally finishing on the absolute bottom of his career. And then you go back, all right, Rodgers, that's great. What about the Steelers? They got this long history of excellence and blah blah blah. Everyone wants to talk about it and the immaculate reception and blah blah blah, all that bullshit, right? The Steelers didn't convert a third down in the first half. That's the first time this happened since 1989. So this shit was happened before we were born. That was the last time this shit happened, right? So all that tied in together, like absolute outstanding. The fact that they came out, ran the ball a little bit, and then we shut that shit down. The fact that they got a few plays here and there on that first drive with DK, and they hit a deeper ball at one point or something. That we just kind of locked all that shit up. And there wasn't these plays where, oh, the pressure got there. There just wasn't guys running open. There was like 1 or 2 things where maybe Rodgers had a chance, but in general, it was such a fundamentally sound game. And it was especially against a quarterback that processes at such a high level where he's going to see everything. There just wasn't anything there. And the way it was just suffocating. I know I've gotten in arguments with people. Oh, don't compare them to Legion of Boom. They're completely different, blah, blah, blah. This is this kind of Legion of Boom kind of shit, right? When they would come out and just absolutely throttle the Saints in Breeze in the playoffs, or they would come out and throttle this quarterback or that quarterback, all these Hall of Fame dudes that played back in the day, the way they would do it to teams like Tom Brady and shit. Like, that's the level of shit we're talking about right now. And they're all young. They're all ascending outside of, like, Hunter and Autry, and Aziz is kind of middle of the road. But, like, it's exciting to see the arrow up. And in reality, we haven't seen the best of this defense yet. Because there's a ton of stuff that they haven't shown. And it's going to level up. And I'm excited to see kind of if that can continue and whether the offense will continue to put it in position. I know you're going to make this point, right, about the offense complementing it. Can they continue to do that? Because I think that's what led to this kind of high level historical performance.
Well, I mean, I think that's the thing. I don't think they really did a good job complimenting it in this game at all. But
Yeah,
I think honestly, like that kind of is what makes this defense special, and that's kind of what makes this kind of one of the best defensive performances I feel like I want to almost say, like I said, almost ever have seen. Right? I mean, I mean, catastrophic play after catastrophic play from CJ. Right? You know, I mean, the fumble, the flea flicker fumble, okay, it was bad, and you gave them a short field. You held them to a field goal, I think, on that drive. If they got anything, I can't remember. But I know the bigger stop to me was the next one when he fumbled the ball on literally like basically in their red zone. And when he fumbled it, I did not realize how close they were to their goal line. And then when the camera flipped and they were basically in the red zone, I was just like, it made the turnover even that much worse, right? And to see the defense not making an excuse for itself, and to see them not break at all. And honestly, it kind of felt like they kind of took it upon themselves to like, stay motivated. And honestly, it's like they started playing harder at like the worse the offense was playing. Because to get a stop and to hold them from getting a touchdown and keeping it 6-0 right there is basically what wins you that game. Because if you go down double digits, man, morale starts to creep in. People start to wonder if we're supposed to be here. Oh, it's happening again. But to be honest, man, that's what makes this comment, the whole culture that D'Amico has brought in, the whole swarm thing. I know, like when he was first coming in, I mean, a lot of people believed in him, and I think we all knew that he was good. But for him to be able to just hold this group of men together, what I'm saying, throughout this really tumultuous season. I mean, this season could have been over after like week 8, what I mean, when we were 3-5 or 3-4 or whatever we were. You
yeah,
know what I
three and
mean?
five. Yeah,
Yeah. For him to hold this team, and I know he won't probably win coach of the year this year because of how we started, but man, I mean, he definitely deserves to I to me, this was probably one of the better coaching jobs I have ever seen. To see like for and it's like I was listening to Lance Erline talk about this morning, right? He was saying that behind closed doors, the defense has to have these real conversations that they have to understand that at some points they're carrying the team, you know, but for them to not let this creep in, you see some of these teams like, the Jets, for instance, with Robert Sala. I mean, the Jaguars when they had I think that was Doug Marrone as their coach with the Blake Bortles years.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
you see, as time I mean, hell, even in Seattle, right? Under even a great coach, legendary coach like Pete Carroll, you see these teams, man, they kind of just break down as the offense breaks, because they don't like the quarterback. And pretty much every one of those situations, it ended up being something to do with the quarterback, right? You know, um, to see that this defense hasn't mentally broke at all. And if anything, they have worn the badge of like, it's like they take it as like a badge of honor to really carry this team. I mean, it's a special defense, man, and I think D'Amico has done a really like a really great job, man. I think this is probably one of the best coaching jobs I have ever seen. I know it's crazy to say, but I have probably it's definitely top 3 coaching years I have ever seen. To have this team believing in this. We literally just turned the ball over 5. I mean, almost turned the ball over 5 times, 5 fumbles, right? You know, then we get a good drive going, and CJ throws a really terrible pick in our red zone. And what should have basically been, I think if we score on that drive, man, we put the game away basically. But then the defense goes back out there and they do what they do. I mean, it's really remarkable, and I'm just happy that we have these guys. I'm happy that what I'm saying, we made that move for Will Anderson. Super proud of Aziz. You know what I mean? Super proud of Petrie. Just the whole team, man. And I made a post about this on Twitter earlier. I wish I had the screenshot, man, talking about Nick Casario. I mean, I feel like there was a point where Nick Casario started to get flowers in CJ's rookie year. And then after that, man, it kind of felt like after seeing CJ look bad and the offense look bad and the O line look bad last year, it's kind of like he's back on thin ice. But man, I mean, we have to give Nick Casario some real kudos for this team that he's built. I mean, not only are we just a flat out more talented team than pretty much every team that we play, we have some really strong minded young men on our team, man. So they're doing a great job with player development, scouting, and just the coaches there just keeping these guys focused, man. I mean, this is a different Texans team. You know what I mean? So, Josh, man, I mean, is there? I mean, we can talk a little bit. We can kind of go. We talked offense, defense. We haven't really talked about CJ. I mean, do you want to have that conversation? I mean, should we before we go into the preview or side of things, or what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think we can have it in a prism of like moving forward of what he needs to do, right? Like people are like to the only way you can really quote it, like freaking Stevie Wonder could see what was going on out there. Like Ray Charles would have seen that, could tell you what was going on out there. Like CJ was, he was like just panicking, feet didn't trust his feet. I think there's a dynamic of like him being kind of, he hasn't been the same since he came back from the concussion in terms of like aggressiveness and decisiveness of using his feet when he needs to. I know we both kind of wish he wouldn't use them as much before the injury, but I think it's a weird kind of how do I say this? It's a weird collection of two separate things going on, right? One, he's not running like he was before the injury, which is he should be, because in some ways that's going to protect him more than sitting back there and just kind of jumping around and panicking and then kind of holding the ball with one hand. The fundamentals are terrible, but I think the other side of it is he's also playing like he did before the injury, in that he's trying to go for the home run ball. He's kind of holding on to it. He's not taking the quick stuff underneath. He's not kind of taking what's there and just saying, you know what? I know a zero play is better than a negative play, and he's kind of moved past that in a way that's kind of, it's really the most worrying thing about it, right? Is that he's not aware of what his defense is doing in some way. He's kind of gotten a little, the winning streak has kind of allowed him to get a little too confident about it, that they're just going to bail him out in some ways. And the second we start playing better teams, we're going to see it this week against Drake May, where that quarterback has the ability to kind of go and put the kill shot on you. Even though we have a great defense, like there's ways that he can fit stuff in. Like there's always a chance where a quarterback can throw a ball against good coverage and it can be caught against, they have some decent receivers and Diggs and Booty right out there. They can find ways to do it, or the run game, or different things. They're not going to make those massive mistakes that CJ made. And the fact that we won this game with 5 fumbles, I mean, is the most blasphemous, crazy thing I've ever. That was part of the reason this defense was so amazing. But he just has to kind of settle down. Someone's got to talk to him. He needs to realize that, like, all right, you have the best run game that you've had in your entire career, probably as a football player right now. The way they're running right now, like the way they're functioning, the way they're executing, the way they're not running for negative plays, right? So I think if he's able to settle into that, he doesn't fall into that kind of big game, big play hunting kind of situation where he just takes what's there, kind of puts the pressure back on Kaylee to kind of set him up, which he put him in good situations with moving the pocket. We do more than that. He's got plenty of talent there, and I think it's going to be a thing where if he settles down, he probably only has to play like slightly above average, or if that, maybe even an average game by him. We'll win against the Patriots with how good this defense is playing and how everyone around him, especially the run game, is kind of executing at this point right now. It's a little iffier with Nico, but I think Kirk's stepping up and there's ways around it. But to me, it has to be a settle thing. Now, I don't know if he has it, like if he can do that, but that's kind of what it's going to take in order for him to finally get past that second round.
Yeah, I mean, you know, the fumbling thing, I almost want to say that, that was an anomaly type game. Because, I mean, I've seen him, we've all seen him do some kind of strange things at points. But, I mean, fumbling the snap as much as he did, that was just, I don't know. I can't believe it. I mean, I don't know. Like, I was listening to Sean McCoy talk about it, on the way to work this morning. And he was talking about how, um, he thought he was nervous,
Mm-hmm.
which for like a third year quarterback that's been in the playoffs 3 years in a row, I mean, that's kind of damning to say that, like, you think he's nervous in this situation. But I mean, you know, honestly, I fought it a little bit, but the more I thought about it, I was like, I'm not gonna say he's right, but there's a reason why he feels like that, and I think for LaShawn McCoy to say that on his podcast is kind of crazy. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
I think that at the end of the day, it just kind of goes back to what we were initially talking about is just the next game in terms of what we have to do for like to beat the Patriots. I think is we have to be successful on the ground early in the game, and we have to kind of keep those third downs, like third and longs, to a minimum, right? Until he really gets in the rhythm. And I still think, and even in this game, I like off the top of my head, I can't really remember how many of those shot plays that we had to Christian Kirk were off of play action. But I think that the better we get this run game, and we get the run game going, and really have to make them play, the shot plays out of play action. You know what I mean? And out of some of these similar run looks. And honestly, I know we're running the ball out of these heavy tight end sets, but I mean, man, if we were able to even run the ball decently out of like 11 personnel, right? And to where we could have three legit, home run hitters on the field between Higgins, Noel, and Kirk. You know what I'm saying? Like that would even be great too. Because right now we're kind of using Schultz as a second receiver in some of these, sets, and I don't think that puts any fear, deep down the field. Particularly, especially with Nico out. You know what I mean? Um, unless Higgins or Noel ends up playing, or I mean even Kirk, I guess. But with Nico being out, like you don't have that luxury to go out there in 13 personnel and run a play action shot play and have him run by everybody, like he's proven he can do. So, man, I mean, but it just starts with the run game. Just make like literally, I like we talk about him holding on to the ball. We talk about the quick game not being as effective and all this stuff. I think that what CJ does great, you know what I'm saying, is push the ball downfield. I mean, you saw it. We all saw it in this game. It's like he goes from fumbling the snap and picking it up and trying to throw the ball as he's picking it up to throwing like a 30, 40-yard dime down the field on the money, like, a deep cross, a deep post or whatever it was, right? I mean, let's just if he does that well, like let's make sure we have like a few plays that are designed shot plays off of play action to where like the run game can set him up into doing what he's good, yeah, similar to like what the Seattle was doing with Russell Wilson and what Arthur Smith did with Ryan Tannehill. When both of those quarterbacks were at their prime, they were pushing the ball off of play action. They weren't having to diagnose the defense and get the ball out of their hands in under 2.5 seconds and be the reason why their team was ahead of the chains. And yeah, so I think we need to have another great game on the ground to beat. I mean, hell, not even great, because we know what our defense is going to do. Just have a solid game to where you keep the Pats playing honest. You are able to like be respectable in time of possession, right? And and keep your defense in attack mode the whole game. That's kind of what I think I need to see from CJ. Now let's
Yeah.
talk a little bit about, unless you have something to respond to that, man.
No, just real quickly. I think it's important. It's an important point you made about the. I think the biggest thing that happened over and over again with those snaps issues was that, like you talked about, they were asking him to diagnose too much, and they're asking him to kind of think too much, and he was getting in his head, and a lot of times he was looking over trying to sneak a peek with his eyes when the ball was coming. Like that happened 3 or 4 times. I haven't looked back specifically to see his eyes. It's hard to see. But I was specifically watching the Manning cast for this game, right? To kind of get their perspective because I knew there would be some interesting things with how Pittsburgh runs different looks at you and kind of creates a little different eye candy to kind of mess with you, and they'll blitz here and then they'll drop and they'll send here and they'll twist and a lot of different things. And I think that was messing with him. And I'm concerned because that's a away game against that kind of scheme. And guess what? New England's not going to get any easier, right? They're going to be just as loud. It's not going to be as cold, obviously, but I like how does he adjust to it, and how does he adjust to it without that clear like matchup guy? Because right now he doesn't have a guy on offense if Nico doesn't play that you trust 1-on-1, especially when he's going against Carlton Davis, right? The guy who got him multiple. I think it was twice, right, in that Detroit
Oh yeah,
game.
yeah,
Yeah,
Detroit, yeah, yeah.
yeah, and their secondary across the board, assuming maybe Christian Gonzalez doesn't play in that, but like I
Well,
think this is
it
going to
sounds
be.
like he practiced today. I mean, it
Oh, we
sounds
did
like
practice today.
yeah,
Okay, okay, yeah, yeah. It's tough, man. And they have that quick, twitchy corner that can match up on Kirk, and I will get into that more as we go into this deeper of the preview for Pats. But it's just like this is the biggest game of C.J. Stroud's life, like full stop. Like this is it. This is his best shot so far to actually go and win a Super Bowl, and it may be the best shot that he gets with all the quarterback. None of those big time quarterbacks are out there left in the like this best shot he has to win a Super Bowl. Right, this may be it. Like as crazy as we're talking about year three, I know it's gonna kind of freak people out, but this may be it. It happens to quarterbacks all the time. Dan Marino got there once early, and then didn't get back again. Like I think the team's good enough to create situations for him, but man, like you got to take advantage of it when you're there, especially when you're in a beatable team that hasn't been there yet either in terms of New England. So I'm excited to see CJ kind of level up and kind of just play a solid, quality, middle of the road CJ Stroud game, and that's all we're really asking for.
yeah, man. So let's go ahead and talk about this. 1 second, y'all. I don't know why this keeps going. It keeps putting this on a timer. 1 second. Sorry, y'all. Jesus Christ. Anyway, okay. My bad, y'all. There we go. It's not now. We're just not working. All right, anyway, so we're gonna talk about the Patriots secondary, man. So I mean, honestly, man, could you say this is one of the more underrated groups in the league? I think with Marcus Jones, uh, Marcus Jones, Carlton Davis, and Christian Gonzalez, who really is all world, man. All world corner over there as well. Like, I'm not gonna say he's like Stingley, but he's close. You know what I mean? So like you said, with Nico being out and Gonzalez being able to match up pretty much on anyone, man. Like, how do we attack this secondary? I mean, is there a way to because they really don't have a weak link? Do you think? Or
I mean, that's the thing. I'm pulling up their depth chart now, but I think the one way that you can kind of have a chance in this game, and it's kind of boring because we've talked about it over and over again. It's just create those conflicts over the middle, right, in the run game. Like it's
right,
creating situations. This has to be a big Dalton Schultz game. Like we can't use him like we can't pretend he's gonna be our movable piece and we're gonna use him like a receiver. We got to use him like it's just a straight up tight end off of play action. And I think when you look at this team, like you look at Robert Spillane, he's solid, good player. Christian Ellis, solid, good player. But neither of those guys are like plus, 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 plus athletes that are worried about, right? And then like you go and look at their safeties, it's like Hawkins is an interchangeable good piece. Same with Woodson. But in reality, they're aggressive. They're across the board. They have a deep secondary, like straight up every guy who's a starter. But you get to that second level, like maybe this is a game where you spread them out, you create isolation situations for Xavier Hutchinson. You kind of pick and choose. You see if you can spread them out, get their linebackers out on what's it called on receivers by using like moving your Stover like pre post snap motioning out. Now a lot of this comes down to can CJ handle this kind of intricacy and can he execute within this? But you know where it kind of you have your tight end out here, maybe a fullback out here wide, and it creates different matchups and you get clearer pre-snap reads because we know CJ loves throwing over the middle in those situations. But I think you just have to manufacture easy looks over and over again. It's got to be the pocket's got to move consistently because they don't have these big edges. Like it's a clear downgrade from who we played last week, right? They've got Chase on and they've got Landry at their edge position. And their real problem is that penetration from inside. And the best way to handle those penetrators when it's inside in between tackles is moving the launch point so they don't know where they're having to get to. Like you can find ways to kind of wall off Milton Williams and Barrymore and the fella. I know they're getting back their nose tackle, but it just comes back to the run game. And I think that's the only way. Like you can maybe set up situations where you can body some of these smaller guys, like Marcus Jones. You can create maybe you put a tight end on him, and you're able. But the problem is Schultz isn't like a big physical type of guy. Maybe you can manufacture a screen look where you're throwing to Stover in space, and specifically when they're manned up with a nickelback out there or some different looks, you can kind of create some matchups. But I think in general, this has to be, we get back to it. We've said it last week. They didn't do a ton of it last week, but I think it's a big Woody Marks game in the pass game as well. And I think that's something that's going to help us move the ball. And I think there's going to be more diversified because that was a work of art to be 5.5 yards. I know I keep hitting over that number, but 5.5 yards average on third downs, that's going to be really hard to replicate, but we're going to have to do it in a different way. Like, this is where Kaylee's going to make his money. Like, last week was like, okay, this is like, duh. We didn't think they'd be able to do it, but this is how you had to do it with CJ Stroud. Now there's no Nico. This is where Kaylee and his game plan scheme and how he kind of does everything, this is where he's got to really put up or shut up. And if he really wants to get a shot at getting a head coaching gig this offseason, he can come out and do that for himself, and he can get us to a place that we haven't been. I think
Ever,
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 yeah,
yeah, we
ever.
haven't,
Right.
yeah.
I was thinking about it for a
Yeah,
second,
yeah,
but ever,
yeah.
right?
I mean, and let's face it, as you were talking, it kind of like made sense that you were going to end up saying that this was a game that Woody Marks gets like a decent amount of targets in the pass game, right? We're talking about angle routes, flats, like hell, moving them out to receiver, like you're talking about you're talking about going empty and spread and stuff, and moving Stover out. I mean, not only getting a receiver on a linebacker or a linebacker on the receiver, right? But I don't think there's that many running backs linebackers that can handle Woody Marks out of the backfield. And I think this whole season we haven't really seen that level unlocked from the Texans at all. Because he ended up being a better runner. Like, I mean, out of like single back and stuff in heavy situations. I mean, we're literally like watching Woody Marks actually be a real running back. And I think when we all drafted him, the first obvious thing you think about is, oh, New England Patriots OC. Oh, we're gonna use him. This is gonna be our version of I'm going James White. That's kind of what I thought, right? So it's like, but he's proven to be a solid runner, and especially in between the tackles. So I 100% agree with you there, man. But yeah,
Oh,
one more
one
thing.
name I want to ask you about real quick before we move off the
Yeah,
secondary. To me, it has to be the Knoll game, right?
yeah.
We've been
Well,
calling
we've
it
been
for like,
saying that. I mean, we've been saying that I mean all year. One more thing I was gonna say before we
yeah,
get back to
yeah,
Noel,
yeah,
that
yeah,
that actually this can tie right into Noel, right?
yeah.
Is that think about back to CJ Stroud's rookie year where we faced like I think it was only like Lamar Jackson, which is every time I think about this is just crazy. When you think about the kind of rookie year CJ Stroud had, the only quarterback that saw, I think we were like top three in like stack boxes faced, right?
Hmm.
With Nico Collins going out, right? How disrespectful do the Patriots get? I mean, Vrabel is a real rah rah guy. I was listening to Taylor Lewan, and maybe we'll go live before the game, and I have a lot more of these cut ups for y'all. That will require more super chats. Thank you for the people that did super chat and join the channel. Sorry, but I have to say that we need super chats. But anyway, uh, you know this should like when you listen to them talk about Mike Vrabel, you know what they kind of describe as someone that will like kind of pump his players up by kind of talking about the insignificant or the insufficient parts of the other players' games, right? Which makes sense because that's what you have to do. But is there a chance that he could kind of get a little bit overly arrogant, man, and stack the box against us again and give CJ some very very favorable, you know, opportunities to take downfield? I mean, we saw him go out there and really like carve teams up with really without Nico Collins before. Against deep. I don't want to say good because the Bengals at that point were not a good defense, but we've seen him carve up defenses that showed him looks that favorable passing looks, which leads right back into Noel. The reason why as Nico Collins is based, anyone knows me. I was supporting Nico
Yeah,
early on
ride or die with Nico from day one.
like,
Yeah, yeah.
people were writing them off, and I was saying that. The reason why I'm not afraid of losing Nico, like right now, especially, is because after this draft that we just had, we added two really explosive players in Higgins and Noel, and we still have Christian Kirk there. I think that it's not like when for instance, like when we had DeAndre Hopkins and Will Fuller went out all the time, and it's like, okay, now Hopkins is a great possession. He's like an explosive possession receiver, right? But Fuller being out compresses the field. I still think that, and I know the Patriots are good at not giving up the huge play, right? But the thing is that losing Nico, we still have the ability to be explosive without him. I believe. I mean, hell, look at the last. I think was that the Chargers game. Yeah, the Chargers game, right? Chargers were a team that prided themselves on not giving up the deep pass, right? We saw two explosive plays to Higgins and to Jalen Noel. You know, all these defenses at this point, nobody gives up big plays. You talk to people, nobody gives up big plays, but the Chargers didn't either, and we still got it off. Like I'm not that nervous about losing Nico Collins because I know that we have guys that can at least function in a way similar to him. Now, will they be able to go and do everything that he can do? No. Will they be able to go out wide and do it? No. Will we have to run maybe a little bit more compressed sets to get, to get guys more easy releases off the line to take the shots? Maybe. But again, this is all stuff that we've seen CJ Stroud do well. So I think Nico Collins being out is definitely not a plus situation. And it's definitely not something that you want to happen, right? But I think that this game, I think we can definitely get by if the defense, keeps playing how it's playing. I think we could even, I think, I think we can have a solid game passing the football, especially if the run game, if we're committed to the run game and we're having a decent amount of success there. Josh, man, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, you look back at the Niners game earlier in the year too. I believe Nico was out for that game, and that's when Noel had his best performance. I think he right now, it's crazy to say because he's barely been used, but he still might be our best separator against like quality coverage that we have in terms of like twitchiness. Like Kirk is good, but Kirk kind of just takes advantage of bad matchups at this point, right? Like they found that matchup and they beat it over the head. There's no bad matchup here. Like they're good across the board. Like maybe we can use Kirk in a way that can attack the linebackers and move in the pocket and everything and manufacture looks. But man, Kaylee has to like he's had those moments and here's the thing, the way this defense is playing now, we just need two plays probably. May need one. Like if we're running the ball and we get one big play, like we get our normal drives where it's a bunch of field goals and we're running the ball and dip and dunk and we're kicking it, and then we're getting one big play here. Like I know two, and it's probably a wrap, right? Because anyone that skin the 20 points is winning this game for the most. Like like that's unless the Patriots are, and we'll talk about it in a second. Unless they're able to do some shit that we're going to talk about in a second, I think there's one way that it could get, that they could really kind of equalize things. We'll talk about it in a second. But like I just think it's a situation where we've seen in the past. This is one of the best years Dalton Schultz has played in his career, and I think his ability to attack safeties with double moves is something that we haven't seen used since year one of CJ, and I think he still shows flashes of it, but we just haven't been able to kind of get to it as much, right? And now we kind of have to. I think this is a game where, like you said, Higgins could be an option where he's going to get more and more. He's going to get that opportunity to do it. I think Hutchinson, someone mentioned in our comments, I think it was Frank. No, it was Brandon. Brandon mentioned Hutch. I totally agree with that. I think he's a good route runner. You just have to be a situation where CJ, it's a weird combination of spreading the ball around, but also to the defense it looks like spreading the ball around, but in reality everything's pretty organized and simple in what we're asking him to do, because we're not going to ask him, because they're going to do a good job of confusing things in coverage, and they do a really good job of scheming things up, and this is probably the best like coaching matchup we faced um in terms of like smart defense and just across the board quality, like balanced team since we played Seattle. Probably this is the best team that we placed across the board, because the Colts were beat up. Like Jones was hurt by the time we played him. But I digress, man. I'm excited to see kind of what that option is and whether Kaylee has the answer to these things we're talking about. Because I think there are the tools there. The question is he willing to go there, and does he have a way to get to those looks?
Yeah, and I mean, like, Like, listen, I mean, I know he didn't have the kind of year that I expected. As I mean, just like I was a Nico Collins fan early on, I was, there's clips of me talking with Robert May saying that I like why we should draft Jaden Higgins, right?
Hmm.
Jaden Higgins caught fire towards the end of the year, finishing with I think over 600 yards. I think given more opportunities early in the year, he probably could have finished closer to 1,000 yards if he would have been getting the ball more. You know what I mean? Getting more targets and just being on the field more, right? But listen, I think that we have more than enough receiving talent to go out there and win this game. I'm not saying that he's going to throw 400 yards or go crazy on them, but I think that in some ways this is a better receiving core. I know this probably sounds crazy, but this is a little bit of better receiving core than we even had last year. I think as a whole, and like you said, like they brought up Hutchinson is also, I mean, really been playing good for like the last year and a half. Really 2 years. When given opportunities, he's looked decent. So I think we have. I mean, we're talking about 5, 6, 7 weapons here. You know what I mean? Um, but yeah, man, let's go ahead and talk about, I guess, our defense versus our defense versus their offense, man. So you know, I kind of feel like I was talking to a lot of the Patriots fans earlier. I think that everyone is kind of done talking about our edge rushers at this point, to the point where it's like, okay, like, well, how do you go against the Texans? Okay, you just chip both the edges, and that's that. Well, I mean, that's not something that teams even want to do, because when you do that, you basically relying. I mean, it's damn near max protect, because at that point, those guys checking and releasing, they're not really able to run like that many routes, because I mean, you're still getting rushed, right? So to me, Josh, do you think? And I know you like Will Campbell went to LSU, and I think we both liked him. You are an LSU fan, so obviously I think you liked him even more than I did. Uh, because of the emotional tie there. But man, listen, is there anything that they can do to stop the hell that is about to be raised on that field between Will Anderson and Daniil Hunter, bro? Like,
Yeah, there's only one thing they can do. There's absolutely one thing they can do in the whole world, and it's run the ball and run the ball again and run the ball again. And because you can't, you're absolutely right. You can't chip both sides. First of all, first thing, you don't have the guy out. If you had like Megatron out there, you could do that shit maybe, and he could just get open over and over again. But Megatron ain't walking through that damn door. Randy Moss ain't walking through the damn door, right? Like I love Kayshawn Booty, right? And I think Will Campbell's really good within this scheme and how they kind of execute things. But man, like they're coming out there with starting two centers on the left side. Like Wilson is a center, like physically, and Bradbury's a center, right? And neither of those guys are going to be great on islands. I think it's a situation where you can Archery could have a really big game if they're forced to kind of throw the ball consistently. On the right side, they're pretty solid, but Morgan Moses, I feel like he's someone that we've turned into barbecue chicken. Quite, I feel like over and over again. I can't remember where he's played at and when we've
I feel
matched
like
up.
Will Anderson got his first sack, because wasn't he on the Ravens 3 years ago?
Yeah. You're
I
right,
think
right.
Will
I
Anderson got his
completely,
first
yeah,
sack on actually I think it was on Lamar with him there. So
yeah,
I mean, he's someone that Will Anderson. I mean, and Will Anderson as a rookie, man, is like way different than Will Anderson now. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
he's been had before.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously they've already had their way with Will Campbell, and I know Will Campbell at this point. Wait, Will Campbell a rookie? No, he's a rookie this year. I'm tripping, man. Jesus Christ. It feels like, some side note. It feels like Will Campbell has been in the league for a while now. You know, he just seems so mature in all his interviews, and like he kind of has that country type voice. Like he doesn't seem like a 22-year-old, right? But yeah, so he's listen, this is gonna be the biggest task he's ever had. I mean, to block a guy as polished a rusher as Daniil Hunter. I mean, we're talking about really like someone who is like a 1% athlete, right? On top of that, being like such a unique and polished rusher, right? I mean, it's gonna be hell for Will Campbell, you know. And I mean, let's face it. I mean, right now Barnett is still playing good. You know, Dylan Horton is really playing. When Dylan Horton comes on the field, listen, I'm not necessarily seeing a sack production from him. I haven't even been looking at the rush numbers, but he's been very, very solid, especially against the run. I don't like when our starters go off the field. I don't feel like this massive drop where, oh damn, we can't even set the edge, you know. So man, I don't think there's a way that they can escape the hell that we can raise, man. And this is another thing too, right? I mean, Rankins has been playing out of his damn mind in the last few weeks. You know, I mean, Tommy Togiai has been playing very nice the last few weeks, right? So to me, man, I think we're in a very good spot, Josh, man. So like, look, we talked a little bit about the edges. What do you think about our interior? Do you think they'll be able to make some plays against the Patriots as well?
Yeah. See, I mean, this is something that could turn the game ugly, right? Because they're going to have to give attention to the outside guys, right? They're going to have to create situations. And, like, I feel like in general, like, Mike Unwinu, I think I'm saying, probably screwing that up. I think it's
Yeah,
Unwinu or
yeah.
Unwinu. Yeah.
Mhm.
He's really good on the right side, right? Bradbury's solid for a center. Wilson, good pass pro guy. He's not massive, right? I don't know if we have. I think that's why I brought up Autry. I think he's the one guy that could kind of give them hell inside and create situations, especially if we're playing super wide. But I think the only way that we really get to situations where we can see that is if we're able to come in and really stop their run game. I'm that's the one thing that kind of worries me in this game is they have such a interesting mix of dynamics between their two running backs, right? Neither of them is bad at one thing versus the other, but one has one superpower, one is stronger than the other. I think for me, Henderson might be a guy that will be more of an issue in the pass game, which would come turn around, and I'm bringing it back to the pass rush. Will turn around and kind of take the legs out a little bit of our pass rush over and over again. I'm kind of worried about Toa Toa in coverage. I mentioned that last week. They just kind of didn't have the juice in the backfield and a tight end to really take advantage of that. I think this team has a little more juice. Tight end wise, they kind of have the big body, the Hooper, Austin Hooper, and Hunter Henry. It's like the retirement home for like former legit tight
Yeah.
ends
I
who.
mean, that's the thing too, man. The Patriots fans, like, they're talking about their safety nets being their tight ends. I mean, shit. If Austin Hooper beats me in 2026, I mean, Jesus Christ. I mean,
Yeah,
that's just not gonna be enough, you know.
right.
Even Hunter Henry,
Yeah,
mind you. 1 second, we're gonna take a small little break here. Appreciate you a lot, man, Rooney. Uh, you say I love you guys' content. Thanks for keeping us tapped in. Man, we appreciate y'all a lot. Listen, I know we both have been going through a lot of different things. You know, I don't want to get into my situation, but I'm just well, we've talked a little bit. My mom passed. You know what I mean? So I just took a little break. Um, Not that, we need any sympathy at all, but listen, I mean, if y'all love our content and y'all want to support the show, here's a link. I hope it is showing on
yeah,
the
it's up
YouTube.
there.
Yeah,
It's up there.
I just don't know if you could click it or not. I'm just trying to see this real quick. Is can you click this link? Okay, you can. All right, yeah. Um, yeah, man. So if y'all love our content and y'all wanna support us, man, y'all, I think the cheapest one is like $2 a month or something. You know what I'm saying? It just shows us a little bit of support, man, on the channel, man. So, make sure if that's just one way you can support us, bro, becoming a member of our channel, man. You get access to a bunch of different what do you call those things, Josh? I guess like emoticons or whatever the hell,
Yeah, yeah.
you type in the chat.
Little special badges that we
Yeah.
designed
Yeah,
ourselves,
we have
right?
badges, yeah, and that stuff too, man. So like that's just one way you can support us, man. $2 a month, right? But anyway, let's get right back. Oh, it's a hyper. Thank you, brother. Thank you. Appreciate that. All right. So yeah, man, let's get right back into it, man. So yeah, this is what I told a lot of people were saying, oh, you throw it short. And the quick passing game is how you attack the Texans. That's obviously like when people talk about how to neutralize a pass rush, quick passing game. The thing is that like we aren't really giving up that much in that regard at all. Um, we're coming down. We kind of want you to throw those passes. We come down and we smack the shit out of whoever catches the ball short, right? Now, what Josh is alluding to, and I think it's time that we just get right into it, and it's time like we have been talking about this all year. And I think at this point, it's really only been one team that even kind of remotely tried to do this to us, and which was the Seattle Seahawks. And they had some success if y'all remember that game. And I can't remember exactly where they were running the ball. I can't remember if it was truly in between the tackles or basically right at the guards.
It was all over the place.
They ran all over. So,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
at the end of the day, man, listen, like we know that our edges are still solid against the run. The weakness of this defense is in between like between the defensive tackles, right? You're asking these guys to cover a lot of ground and hold their ground against bigger offensive linemen. And when you think about Josh McDaniels, throughout the history of his tenure in the NFL, I mean, power run game, jumbo sets, extra linemen. They have a like the defensive tackle that they just brought in. They listed him as a defensive tackle fullback. You know what I mean? You know, so if they like, I think it's pretty much in their best interest to turn this game as into a slugfest as well, and just maybe trusting that. That's why it's so important that our offense starts off good. You know what I mean? It's so important that we get a two-score lead on them, and then try to get them to abandon the run game, as well as how we play on early downs. You know, and I mean here's an extra little thing too, Josh. We haven't really talked about this, right? Um, like because we know they're gonna go into these jumbo sets, how our coverage players are able to play. You know what I'm saying? When we really stack the box against those heavy run looks that they show, and our ability to not give up the big plays when we go into our heavy boxes on defense, I think can also be a thing that decides this game, right? Being able to stop the run and not give up the big shots, and also just play solid coverage defense behind it is going to be very important, because that is the only way that you can really move the ball on the Texans. You're going to have to turn it into a bloodbath. And here's the thing, like, me and Josh talk a lot about this all the time. No offensive coordinator wants to run the ball between the tackles 20 times, 25 times, 30 times, because it not only does it hurt the defense, it also hurts your own team. It's the most tense part of the field. You know what I mean? So, Josh, man, do you think that this is going to be the game that we actually see someone truly, truly attack the defense in a way that I think we both agree that it's weak? Yeah.
I do. I mean, you've seen it with Vrabel. He's done it all. He damn near tried to take Tannehill to the Super Bowl with this with Derrick Henry. I mean, they have two guys that can hit home runs. Like you know, Ramondre Stevenson doesn't have any crazy speed, but he's got enough. He's got that first, second, and some of that third gear to kind of break off 30, 40 yard, enough to make you hurt, right? And then Henderson is an absolute just demon when he gets kind of going forward. He's not like side to side, change of direction. He's not going to kill you. But I think you made a great point. Like the whole game plan for them, if they're and it's gonna be the whole game plan because Josh McDaniels isn't an idiot, right? Is gonna force. It's gonna be their like few guys like Douglas in the slot. It's gonna be Henderson in the pass game, Stevenson maybe in the pass game a little bit. It's gonna be isolating those guys on our linebackers and on our other safety, right? Like that's not Caleb Bullock. Attacking those guys, it's basically what we saw when we played the Chiefs last year, right? In the playoffs, right? Where they were able to they are not going to try to throw outside the numbers against us cuz it's stupid. They don't have any kind of semblance of a matchup. They're going to create everything inside. And we said that last week against the Steelers, but they definitely didn't have the guys that have the change of direction and the route running. Like this team does. Like they have Butte's got ability to kind of get over top of you. It's deceptive. He's strong at the top of routes. He can box you out really good at playing the ball in the air. Diggs, we know who Diggs is. Like he's going to be able to run routes and all that. The question is, can they? None of that matters because they do have guys that can eventually separate, especially versus our interior defensive players. Like they have that. None of that matters if they don't run the ball because they're not going to be able to take and hold off our pass rushers with freaking 80-year-old Morgan Moses and Will Campbell, who's a damn rookie over there blocking on each side. Like, because you're not going to be able to do both, right? You're not going to be able to just sit back there and throw. And there was a question, I think there was a super chat, not a super chat, but a question from the captain. As I think it's a good point to reference this. Drake May running is going to be a factor, right? Like I think something that we haven't had to deal with last week, which was really nice. But I think that almost is a situation where we would love for him to start running. Like if that's where they have to get to and they have to run, the scary part is if they're able to creatively tie that into the run game and create more conflicts because we've seen Toa fly out the wrong gap and we've seen Aziz kind of hesitate and trigger the wrong way and we've seen that not really the edges but some once in a while the DT will take the wrong angle. A lot of times the edges when it's not Will and Daniil out there, but kind of getting Daniil more in a space situation. There's ways to kind of attack it where Drake May's athletic enough. I think we could be an EJ speed game. I mentioned that last week, but that was probably foolish by me. I was thinking their running backs would give them more. But man, I'm really curious to see kind of how they if this is a throwback game. And we know like McDaniel's brain is so chock full of examples of how to attack differently. I think you could see them come out in a bunch of different ways and a bunch of different window dressing to kind of create the matchups they want. But in reality, are they going to be able to attack Petrie in coverage? Are they going to be able to get Petrie off the field, like you mentioned, where they get into heavier through the run game? And are they going to be able to take advantage of our linebackers and our secondaries, our other
But,
safety in coverage? And
but
then none of that happens if they can't run the ball.
But see, like that's a whole nother thing that we haven't even like. I mean, how many teams have truly forced us into so much base that we even truly know that like they would take Petrie off the field if we had to go to base, like right, like do you think that if the situation came down to that, do you think they would take Petrie off the field, leave Murray at safe or whoever the second safety is? Like I think that that's how little to further this point. That's how little I feel like teams have actually tried to run the ball against us, right? Um, and I mean, part of that is we've been good at stopping it. But like again, like I feel like these teams, like I've been saying, they aren't really built to run the ball between the tackles. I mean, how many teams even have like a true 220-pound like workhorse back anymore? How many teams like I mean, hell, even the team that we're talking about, right? The Patriots, they're playing a rookie center at guard, you know, like a true center. So
Mm-hmm.
like
Yeah.
a lot of teams are kind of built in a way to where they are not only like they're kind of forced to play a finesse style, which is something that I hope going forward that the Texans don't box themselves into doing. I think that and we're gonna make draft videos for y'all very soon. I think that I don't want us to play centers at guard. I want us to have big guards. True guards. Like, I mean, hell, they're not even big, but just guys that are legitimate guards. You know, because these teams, man. I mean, look, like we see teams that are running like basically two weak side defensive ends at edge. Two outside linebackers at edge when they go to nickel, right? And a lot of these teams are similar to us. Like they might have a Rankins type guy in the middle. They might have a Tommy Togiai type guy in the middle. And I'm not saying that as a put down, but I'm just saying that they're basically running a sub package on every play. You know what I mean? And I think that we run a sub package on every play. It's no way around it, basically. So when you think about the kind of tactical things that McDaniels and Vrabel are gonna have to do, like there is no way in hell they're gonna come out and say, Drake May, I need you to go beat them. That's not gonna be their game plan. I feel like I think that these guys are too smart and they're used to win. They like to win ugly, like you talked about Vrabel with the Titans. I mean, we're also talking about the same offensive coordinator that won a game in like 50 mile per hour winds in Buffalo when it's like 2 degrees outside, if that, and they ran the ball 40 damn times.
Right.
You know,
Right.
like that's how stubborn these guys are. They are the stubborn people that and not only that, man, they don't have to think about, okay, I have 8 games plus the playoffs anymore. We are in the playoffs. There's a potential Super Bowl appearance on the line, right? For sure, AFC title game, on the line, and I think that this is um that's the only way I see them having a chance to win. You know what I mean? So again, like offense put pressure on them to abandon the run, defense win on first down, and at the same time as you have to win on first down by stopping that run, Stingley has to play a great game because he's gonna be put on an island potentially sometimes. Lassiter has to play a good game. Henry Toto has to play a solid game. You know what I mean? I think that I know I'm going on and on. Kalen Bullock, I feel like, name a center fielder that's playing better than Kalen Bullock right now, Josh. I don't
Yeah.
think there's a free safety that can play sideline to sideline as good as Kalen Bullock right now. So I'm comfortable with him, and I'm comfortable with all our DBs and stuff. But you know what I'm saying? They
Yeah.
have to be good this game.
Yeah, and I think the biggest thing, if you want to see one trait to look out for, like specifically what our defense needs to do in the secondary, it's that eye discipline. Because they're gonna, you have some really good route runners out there. With Douglas has the ability to change direction. We know what Diggs can do with the change direction. Booty is like an absolute dog in terms of changing direction on the post corner routes and able to get over the top. Like there's only so much Bullock can kind of cover up for, right? And so I think there's a situation where we have to see that they're gonna sit in that man zone cover four hybrid. And are we going to be pushed to a point where we have to adjust out of Petrie? And in reality, like it's probably still our best opportunity to just start blitzing Petrie and stuff. And what does that then open up? Like, what is the chess match going on with that? Because I assume there's going to be a stretch where they are able to run the ball just because they're just too well coached. They have the dogs to be able to do it. What is our adjustment going to be? And then what is their adjustment? It's going to be really fun to watch the counter jab counter, like what the footwork, the dancing between the two is going to happen. And I think it's the one of the first times that we've seen it since that Seattle game where we really have facing a truly balanced team that's going to be able to match us across the board, strategically and personnel wise, in a way that's going to really put pressure. And I hate to put it all away here, but it's just gonna come back around to CJ Stroud and his ability, like that's kind of how I see it. Like he is the one that's gonna have to then just do his job in a way that's not gonna say, "Oh, this game's going this way, it's tight, it's close, so I need to go make a superhero play and I'm gonna go throw a pick in the red zone like I did last week or something," right? Like so, I'm really interested to see kind of what the shift is and kind of how everything goes with this game.
Shout out to Frank, man, with another super chat, man. Frank, we love you, man. Who
Absolutely.
wins? Who wins? Bills or Broncos at 713 football and everyone else, man. I like the Bills and not because it'll bring the Texans a home game. Josh, go ahead and answer that, man. I'm gonna go ahead and start a poll for
Yeah.
all the listeners.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I hope the Bills win by 1,000, right? Like it would set us up. We get to play at home. It'd be amazing. But I can't see Sean Payton losing to that like severely flawed team in Buffalo, right? I just think they are punching so far above their weight class. It's one of the most amazing jobs that Sean McDermott has done in his career with that defense, with how beat up they are and how just kind of just the way he's always been an amazing coach, like all the way back to Kuechly, to kind of fitting everything around it and kind of finding the pieces to work. But man, if they're able to pull this off, it's gonna have to be a game where like Josh Allen just does some really crazy shit. Because I think they lost Gabe Davis and now the Shavers is both out, so they're really down to like one legitimate receiver. Assuming, I guess Keon Coleman's still on the team, but he's kind of like chopped off the face of the earth. It's gonna be really fat. Like if Joe Brady wants a head coaching gig, here you go, dude. if you can come out there and score consistently against that Broncos defense with what you have to work with, like and finding ways to scheme it up and figure it all out. Like I think Josh Allen's really good as a quarterback outside of when he plays the Texans. Um,
Yeah,
he
right.
he turns into a damn pumpkin, like straight up when he plays us. But like he's just a damn gamer out there. But man, like I think it's gonna be really tough for them to pull that off, especially in Denver when they're so close and they can kind of feel it. I mean maybe, but I mean both of us aren't massively high on Bo Nix as a quarterback. We think that I think that's a polite way of saying it, but I don't, and they don't have a
I'm
ton of guys out there on offense. But man, I think it's gonna be Broncos, and I think it's probably gonna be Broncos by like maybe end up being two possessions, like a 10 point game.
I think this is another game. I know, like, shit, my name on Twitter used to be the run game. Someone shouted that out earlier. I think it might have been you, Frank. But
Yeah, it was
anyway,
Frank.
oh yeah, mind you, we do have a poll up, man. Everybody, man, that's in the chat, man. Make sure y'all hit the poll. Um, yeah. So anyway, what do I think will happen in that game? Like, yeah, I think is it crazy to say that at this point that Sean Payton is an underrated coach? I mean, when you think about his his journey back into coaching, it's like everybody was wondering if he was worthy of a draft pick, of a like a late first round draft pick. And I mean, to see him go to a situation that was kind of bleak, right? Like in that situation, man, I didn't know that he would be able to. And I guess I'm a massive Sean Payton fan, but I didn't know that he would be able to turn it around that fast with the situation that they was in with the cap stuff and all that stuff. And man, I mean, in 1 year they're you know borderline AFC title, right? Great defense. I mean, that's another great job that a coach has done, right? And he has every right to be arrogant. I mean, today going viral about him arrogantly answering a reporter, whatever. Like, I mean, he's a Super Bowl winning coach, man. Like, screw off, bro. He's winning games with Bo Nix. So again, though, like the Bills, they have problems stopping the run. You know, it showed a lot last week against the Jaguars. I don't know why they didn't run the ball more. I don't know why the Jags do Jag things, but that's what they do. And they didn't run the ball enough. I think in this game, I mean, you have an All Pro and Quinn Miners. You have one of the more physical offensive lines in football. I don't think that they're going to take the foot off the gas. I think they're going to run the ball. I think he's going to call design runs for Bo Nix. I think, when you think about a quarterback like Bo Nix, he didn't draft him because of how he throws the ball and all this stuff. I mean, he's not like he has a decent arm. You know, I wouldn't say he's an elite processor, but he is very athletic, and if you can run the ball with them, you can scheme up, play action shots and play, just clean throws for him, right? Clean, like very easy reads for him. I think that their weaknesses go right. I mean, the Bills' weaknesses kind of go right to what the Bills are strong at, to what the Broncos are strong at, and then couple that again, like you brought up, similar things on their offensive defense. Like the Broncos have very good secondary. They have a former defensive player of the year, right? Patrick Surtain. The Bills don't have an outside receiver. The Broncos have a DC that will show a lot of different looks and you know get up in the offense's ass, right? No homo. Pause. And I mean they don't have a receiver that really can make you stop. You know what I mean? So and then on top of that, I mean, the pass rush that the Broncos have as well. I think it's just too much. Now, like you brought up, I mean, Josh Allen is a cyborg, and he does things that, you know, people just can't do. Like he does things that even Mahomes cannot do. You know what I mean? So, there's always a chance there, but again, I just don't think that they have enough. I just think that the Bills defense isn't good enough to really stop the Broncos the way that they might need to. You know, because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if Josh Allen ends up scoring 30 points if the Bills scored 30 points, I feel like Sean Payton's going to be able to find a way to score 31 points. you know, it's with that team, and and it just goes back to Ed Oliver missing so much time, and just their defensive line not being as good as it you know was, I guess, previously. So that's what I think about that, man.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
what's your score prediction for that?
for the
If you had to
Broncos,
guess. Yeah, Broncos game.
I think it's tough to say. I definitely see why you would say 10 point or two possessions, right? Because I really don't think they're going to be able to stop the run at the end of the day. I think they're going to just find too many ways to like get and I mean, hell, we didn't even talk about Evan Ingram. Like if they start running the ball, Evan Ingram starts getting like loose, like it. I can see why. Like I want to say Josh Allen makes this game within a touchdown, you know, um 21-27, a score like that, you know.
Yeah.
I'm
That's close.
giving
I had
yeah,
27-17. So it's
somewhere
like
right in
really
there,
yeah, right.
But yeah, man, let's go back to the Texans, man. I guess score predictions for that, man. Like, what are you thinking there? Are you picking us to win this game?
Oh yeah. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. I think I just can't believe that CJ can have two games in a row that will
Is
be
that
as
bad?
bad as yeah, right. Like call me foolish. Like I've been not a heavy critic of CJ, but like I've been calling it like I've seen it from the very beginning, right? He was great year one, played against an easy schedule, really took advantage of it, and they were able to figure it out with Slowick. Year two wasn't it, like didn't figure it out. Year three, it's been two segments of the year, right? The front end of the year was rough. He finally settled in. He saw what Davis Mills did. He kind of copied a little bit and settled into what the role needed to be. Now he's kind of straying away from it. I think in some ways, you mentioned this earlier. In some ways, the Nico Collins injury kind of can snap him out of it a little bit and trying to be a superhero as much and just kind of just executing and doing what he needs to. Because man, if you really believe in this defense and you think it's that special, just don't get in their way, dude. Like just straight up, just don't get in their way. If it gets to a point where you're not able to move the ball with Woody Marks and with how you're executing, all right, then you can adjust and you have to take more shots and that's fine. But if the approach in that first half isn't what we expect it to be, I'm going to be extremely disappointed. It's going to be something that going into the offseason is going to clearly change whether or not he should be a quarterback that we extend. Like, this is a legacy game for CJ Stroud based on what he's working with. Like, you can't mess this up. Like, you have to come in and you talk about how you're good on the road. He's had these moments. He's super talented. Like, no one's questioning his ability to attack downfield. But I think this defense is so special that they're not going to come out and say, you know what, I can't stop the run. Like we're not going to I think D'Amico will find a way to stop the run and eventually win this game. I think it's going to be super close. I think it's probably like a 21-17 game. That's a number that I've been going to a lot over and over again. I think the Texans probably win 21-17. I think it could be even a 23-20 game, like or a freaking 2017 game, like super like it could be a 21-20 game. Like I think it's going to be really tight, physical. Um but man, I'm just really excited to kind of see kind of what how it kind of plays out. I'm gonna pull up some while Leo's figuring out some technical difficulties. Just run through some comments that we had starred up here. Let's see. Let's see. Here's a great one for Brandon. How much do you have to bribe the doctors to get your player off concussion protocol? Whatever it takes. Robert Kraft cut the check. I mean, that's kind of wild, man. I hope Nico's able to kind of heal up and kind of do what he does, and I think it'll be fine. But another just real quick before I run through the rest of these comments, if y'all could please make sure you like the video. If you're watching on Twitter, we appreciate y'all. If y'all can jump over to YouTube towards the end of this, like the video, subscribe. If you guys want to become if you guys want to become members, we would love that. We'd love to have y'all part of the community. as we go to the off season, we're gonna definitely be able to kind of take in feedback of different things y'all want to hear about, right? Um, Let me see if there's any other comments. Oh, we got Leo back. So after all that, after
Yeah.
you probably went into the next universe to kind of figure out what your pick was gonna be. Why don't you bless us with
well,
your pick?
well, I went into the next universe to find my charger, man. I didn't know my computer was that low. I thought I had enough time. Well, this has been a longer stream than normal, so I
Yeah,
guess give myself the
yeah,
benefit of the doubt there.
as it should be.
Yeah, right. We don't know how many more games we have left, y'all. So definitely going in. Um, so what do I think? Um, I think it's going to be an extremely tough game. I'm expecting like I don't really think they score more than 13 points on us, and I think that it's going to be on us to find a way to score 14. You know, and man, I'm gonna just say 14 to 13 or something like that, 17 to 13, something like that, 13 to 16. I don't I think it's going to be a low scoring game. I don't think the Texans really have a good offensive game until the AFC title or even potentially the Super Bowl. You know, because if the Broncos win, man, I mean that's another tough defense that we have to kind of find a way. Honestly, I hope that the Bills win that game somehow because I feel like that's a favorable matchup for us, even though they've seen us so much. And you think that, like, I think that the reason why the Bills can't beat us specifically is because of like they don't have the weapons, you know. And their defense is just kind of mid. I think the problem with the Patriots is that you can't really say how bad their defense is. You know what I mean? Or bad they're all we're still gonna have to work to score points on them. You know, um. So yeah, I mean, this is one of those games, and at this point, when it comes to picking scores for the Texans game, it makes you feel really like weird. Like I almost want to say like 7-6. Hell, I mean, shit. If the defense didn't do exactly what it did, and we didn't have that kind of run game that nobody expected us to run the ball like that. I mean, if you expected us to run the ball like that, please tell us on this live stream right now because I that was not in my cards, right? So I just think, man, at the end of the day, they're gonna have to just find a way to win. Just find a way to score. I think I feel bad saying that we win 7-3 or 3-6 because when's the last time we've actually seen a game like that in the NFL today? But man, that's kind of how I'm feeling. Like I'm definitely confident in my team, but I just don't know how we're gonna win this game. But with that defense, I know that there we will always have a strong chance. It's just kind of like never know how. I know that's kind of a cop out, so I guess I'll just say like I don't know 6 to 13, whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah, man.
yeah. I mean, I see what you're talking about. Like to me, this is how my brain works with it. We're good for like two. It's random as hell, but it's like two drives a game where they're able to show like they're actual like competent. And I'm guessing that they're gonna find a way to get two touchdowns some way, right? Or one touchdown and two field goals, and then they're gonna get either a defensive touchdown or a special team. I think we're due for a special team touchdown. I think Noel's gonna have a moment in this game. So that's where it's like 2017. I've been stuck in 21-17 like all year. I'm gonna kind of stick with it because I don't think they're gonna get to 20 points. I think 20 points wins the game. Yeah, Frank Z, he's kind of in that similar range. But man, I see what you're talking about. This could be one of those ugly, nasty, gross. You need to go take a shower and then celebrate kind of games because you're sweating your ass off all the way through the end. And it would not surprise me. I'm just Man, there's something about Drake May that scares the crap out of me. That's gonna keep it close. That he's gonna find a way to. He's just gonna make one or two throws that are just absolute, just insane. I think down the field, and it's gonna be whether how good of a throw is it, that like once in a generation type of throw, or is it just normal kind of generation? Oh, one of our someone just jumped in. Texan just jumped in.
Yeah, what's up, Texan, man? Shout out to one of probably like our first member on the channel, man, Texan, man. One of our main supporters, man. We really appreciate it, man. Thank you for coming by, man. Um, So yeah, I mean, but that's the thing, right? Like, it takes two to kind of tango in that regard, right? Drake can make a generational throw, but who's really gonna get open? I mean, I guess you have more faith in Booty than well, I mean, damn, like, first of all, why the fuck did he change his name from Butte to Booty?
It was always Booty. He just
Yeah, I
never
know.
corrected
Yeah,
people.
I wish he just never. He should have just left it how it was. But anyway, um, between Diggs, Diggs. I mean, here's another thing too that I kind of thought about as I was talking, and my computer went off. Right, like, if they really do go heavy sets to try to force us into base, then like, how can you really use Stephon Diggs as a deep threat? Like, who are their guys? Who are their real separators deep down the field that are proven guys?
Yeah, Douglas is the guy that scares me more than Diggs in this game. I think like he's got more twitch to him and more explosiveness. I think
Yeah, but even still, it's like, do you really see
it's
him
not
really?
vertical. It's more of like a horizontal thing, and it's all. I mean, it's people are probably tired of hearing this shit at this point, but it's all about the run game. Like it's all about that horizontal stretch running across the field, and Drake May
Yeah,
laying it out perfectly. Like it's right. You could see it go just past Kamari Lassiter's finger or something, and someone catches it. That's the kind of thing I'm talking about. Like
yeah,
because it's you're absolutely right. I mean, no one's gonna beat Stingley on this team. Like unless Stingley gets caught with his eyes down. Like he got caught with his pants down a couple of times in that game against the Steelers, and they weren't able to take advantage of it. To DK, where DK dropped like multiple passes. So like, but they don't have a DK. So it's like you're absolutely right. I mean, I just
I
have a
mean,
I
it's like when you talk about once in a generational type. I mean, that's might be what it have to be, because like we saw Aaron Rodgers, like the game that kind of makes me, to give us some perspective, right? Like Garrett Wilson from Aaron Rodgers, when Garrett Wilson caught the ball, like, damn near Odell Beckham style on us, and somehow got his thigh down before he touched out of bounds. Like, that's the
yeah.
type of throws that and plays that these guys are really gonna have to make, right? And that was like the last time we saw, like, I mean, that was Aaron Rodgers. Like, how long ago? That was last year,
Was
So
that really?
yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah. So I mean, like, I just, you know, there's always a chance you lose, especially playing this game, man. There's always a chance that you lose. But man, man, Texan, man, shout out to Texan, bro. We got a $50 donation, man. We appreciate it so much. The Patriots are dangerous. They were bombing us the last two outings. So I mean, that's something else too, man. I mean, as I'm talking about Booty like he's nobody, I really hate his name. Jesus Christ. As we talk,
But
we
you,
talk.
Leo, let's be honest. You love talking about booty, right?
Okay. Anyway, yeah. If you're in the 713 football chat, I guess, like, you will see that. I guess we all like to talk about booty sometimes. Now, not in the X Twitter way. That sounded really weird. Not like super super like nasty Twitter, because Twitter can get very nasty. Not that,
Yeah,
we just
it's not Twitter after dark or
yeah,
X after
yeah,
dark.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
we're
It's
just
not. I think we all just share pictures of beautiful women. So yeah, that's another thing. If you are on Twitter and you want to be added to the Twitter chat that we have, man, let me know. I'll add you to it. I'm also thinking about making a 713 football Discord. Again, maybe that'll be like a good way for us to have like members only, like, film sessions, and just watch the all 22 like that, man. Again, but yeah, again, shout out to Texan. Back to what you were saying. Shout out to Texan, man. Shout out to you for the $50 donation, man. We greatly appreciate it. As you know, man, we love you. Appreciate it, man. So yeah, the Patriots are dangerous. Yeah, I mean, but yeah. So back to what I was saying before I got sidetracked. Stingley on Booty. I mean, what a terrible name. I'm sorry. This is just fucked up. But anyway, let's be professional here. Yeah, man, bro. I mean, yeah, he definitely beat us deep. Beat us. Beat Stingley, man. I mean, let's face it, man. Booty was a guy that, I mean, up until that, like, the freaky shit, was. and he had to sit out the last year, right?
Yeah, he got hurt too. It was just
Yeah,
a
it was just
complete.
it was
It
a
was a
bad
yeah. He crash landed at LSU with it, and it
man.
wasn't all on him, right?
No, it wasn't. Because I mean, shit, who was that? Was like Ed Algeron's last
Yeah,
year.
that was the end of Ogeron. It was a
Yeah,
mess.
man, it's crazy that that was just who we and who was the quarterback that last. I don't think he didn't play with Jaden's first year there. I don't think
No,
that was
no,
before Malik Neighbors.
it was
And it,
Miles Brennan. I think it was Miles
yeah,
Brennan.
man. I mean, it's weird that that was so long ago now. But yeah, I mean, so Kayshawn Booty playing this way is not shocking if you watched LSU football. I mean, you're talking about one of the most talented receivers as a freshman in LSU history, almost. Like Josh just said, it didn't end the way that it started. Part of that was just injuries, quarterback play, and then off the field stuff. But you know, I don't want to say like he can't never get Stingley because in reality, like their talent level is like probably similar. You know what I mean? Like on any given day. But I mean, and as we saw in that game on any given play, it can happen. But I just think that we're just this defense is just so dialed in that I just think that it's gonna take, like you were saying, the perfect throw, the perfect route, the perfect. And I think even with that, man, we saw with that you still need protection, man. I mean, Will Anderson is playing. I mean, think about this. I mean, how many games did Will Anderson miss this year, Josh? Like, was it three, two or three?
Yeah, I think it was somewhere around there. Yeah,
He still made first team All Pro.
yeah.
He is Will Anderson is dominating now. I mean, uh Daniil Hunter is dominating, and I mean Rankins right now, like, seems like he's turned back the clock. That play where he returned that fumble, I mean, that was probably one of the best plays of his whole career.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? So like, these guys are playing, they're dialed in, they're locked in, and I think our defense, like I was talking about at the beginning of the stream, man, our defense understands the assignment. They understand what they have to do. They aren't making excuses. I think that they also probably understand that you don't get to play on this many defenses like this throughout your career. As good as this defense is, as young as our star players are, right? We don't know how many years Daniil Hunter has left. Um, we've seen linebackers fall off like fast. We don't know how much Aziz has left. You know what I mean? I mean, hell, Rankins. We're talking about Rankins. We don't know how much he has left. Like, so these guys are definitely taking it upon themselves to play, for each other, and to really just seems like they want to overcome anything the offense does badly. Like, they want to overcome it. So I just have so much faith in them that I feel like it's like you just don't know. They give you a puncher's chance. And I'm not even saying like the Patriots are a team that we need a puncher's chance to win. But like I
Hmm.
said, it's hard to explain what we're gonna do on offense because it's been so sporadic. We can't really, especially with Nico out, we can't say how it's gonna come, how it's gonna happen. But man, I know that with this defense, like, might force a turnover on their side of the field just the same way the Steelers did with us. And then and then in this game with us, like, a field goal matters. You know what I'm saying? Like, as long as we finish in drives and field goals, that matters. So to me, like, I can't tell you, man, but yeah, like, we definitely are in a great spot to win, man. 100%.
Yeah, and I think the only way that they get these like easy looks, it comes back to like creating off the run game and like using. I wouldn't be surprised if you come out and see some pony packages where they have Henderson and Stevenson out there together, and they have the three receivers, and that's probably their best. I mean, thinking about it now, that's probably their most dangerous dynamic group. Like maybe even if they're pulling one of the receivers off, maybe they're pulling Diggs off and they're tight end on there too, just to kind of create, because that can kind of play against our aggressiveness. But if they're not willing to like, I mean, just lean on us with the run game. If they're not willing to do that consistently, And really, if they're not capable of doing it, because you made a good point about Wilson at guard and Bradbury, like none those guys aren't physical freaks, right? And Campbell's lack of length, it's like there that factors in at a certain point when you're playing at that high level. If you put Hunter over there and he's trying to lock out against Hunter with who's got like arms that go for days, there's gonna be some kind of issues, man. And man, I'm just really fascinated to see. This is one of the most anticipated games that I've kind of thought of in a long time. It was that Seattle game earlier in the year. I was really excited to see what happened, and it really kind of slapped me in the face the way it played out. This is probably the game I'm most excited. It was kind of same way with that Colts game before Daniel Jones's leg like spontaneously combusted. That was another game that was exciting, but this is in that next tier of like, okay, what does it look like schematically? This is like a football nerds like highest level of a game. Like I'm really like fascinated to see how it plays out because I think it's gonna be tough, tight, and I think they're gonna find ways to make some plays on us, like one or two here or there, but they're not gonna be able to do it consistently as long as we're able to stop that run. Are you on mute?
Yeah, man, I 100% agree. Um, so I wish I could. Can I share a screen on this?
You
Let me see,
can.
y'all. Let me see.
Just be
Somewhere.
careful. That's a lot of power.
All right. Uh, all right, so I got it pulled up. Jacob just tweeted something that might be worth talking about. Shout out to the 110 people watching us on Twitter, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Shout out to everybody watching us on YouTube. All
Yeah,
right.
with 120 people total right now.
All right. What the hell? Why do I have to? All right, y'all. Y'all are getting some. Dude, what the fuck? Sorry, y'all. Okay, there we go. What the fuck? All right. I will get this for y'all. 1 second. Dude, what the Oh damn, I have to quit. All right, well, we're not gonna do this. Actually, it looks like it might work. All right, there we go. You can see that?
Yeah, we got it.
All right, so the Texans will be just the second team in the top half of the NFL and EPA, 13th, that's our EPA per pass ranking, that the Patriots will face this season. New England has played teams ranked 32nd, 31st, 30th, two times, 28, 27, 26, 25, 24, 23, 22, two times, 21, 20, and 18. So that means that they have not really been challenged that much.
Yeah. They have not played a top 5 defense yet this year.
No, that's their defense, I believe.
Oh, is that?
Yeah. Isn't it crazy? I know it's kind of weird that we're top half of the NFL and EPA per pass, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's what it's saying, right? Texans will be, yeah, I think they mean that our passing game. So there's a chance that, I guess what this is suggesting, that their passing defense isn't as good as I guess a lot of people think. Josh, man, what do you think about that? Do you think there's a chance that we're able to expose them, I guess?
If Nico was playing, yes. But I mean, it's going to be tough. I don't think we can lean on that as like a. That's why I mentioned that other thing about they haven't faced the top 5 defense yet this year.
Yeah.
Because I think that's like there's a chance that we're able to just completely like just melt them down as a like just squeeze the life out of them like an anaconda. There's a chance that happens if they can't run the ball, right? There's a chance that their line isn't as good as it kind of has played out as. Like Vrabel's a great coach and he knows how to scheme stuff up, but there are ways that this game gets ugly in our favor just because of how good our defense is. But it all comes back to like
How
man,
bad, how
CJ.
bad is our offense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It comes back to CJ. Like
Yeah.
it's very simple. Like he has to show it before. Like he's had these flashes in the playoffs. like that stretch against the Chargers last year after the just absolute horrid start. But man, we'll see. We'll see what how it plays out, and it's really fascinating. Can Kirk was that Kirk thing just a flash in the pan last week, or is that something that can continue? Um, he's gonna have to be a real weapon. Like he can't. Obviously, you're not gonna expect him to do the same thing. But who else is gonna step up? I think Higgins could have a big game. You talked about Noel have a big game. Like someone else has to have that big game as well.
Yeah.
At the minimum, just to kind of pull attention away to kind of create because there's you can't lean on a Schultz to win the game for you, right? Like Schultz can be that second or third or fourth piece that can kind of take advantage of like matchups. But man, it's going to be really fascinating, and this is a game where Woody Marks could raise to a different level. That probably the second best running back in franchise history. He could become that player just purely off how he performs in this game as a rookie, right? If he comes out after and his first two playoff games are absolute just like diamonds, like double diamonds, like whatever the however you want to I mean, and it's very possible like if he's able to do that and we're able to take advantage of their small edge rushers the way we did last week and kind of take advantage of how aggressive they play, there's a chance that we're just able to lean on them with our big tackles. And Nick Casario, like you talked, is gonna have you're gonna have to every person that wanted was asking for him to be fired is halfway through the year is gonna have to turn around and just like really just give him those props at a high level. And it's all gonna come down to our offensive line running the ball and C.J. Stroud because we know the defense is gonna come out and play their ass off.
Yeah, man, 100%, man. Let's answer a few of these before we start shutting it down, man. We've been on for about an hour 45, man. This is our longest stream for sure. Probably this
Yeah,
season. But
yeah.
anyway, so Christian Kirk, so what's Jashu Bishop. I don't even know how to say that. But yeah, man.
Just
Uh,
call him J.A.
JA, yeah. Shout out to you, man. I think this is our first time seeing you in the stream. Man, make sure you sub up, man, and come back for more. Christian Kirk can expose him because Gonzalez may not be playing. Well, he practiced today. You know, he did practice today. So I earlier in the week I thought that he might not be playing, but I think we can't count him out yet. CJ has more wins in the playoffs than the other young quarterbacks like Herbert and the Prince. Who is the Prince? Let us know who the Prince is because I don't know. I don't know what you mean. Shout out to the captain. He says we are better on both sides of the ball with the young QB. They have a younger QB though, so hey, it's a battle of the young QBs, man.
Yeah, I saw some like it's the first time you got like 25-year-old quarterbacks. Like it's been pretty rare,
Yeah.
25 years or younger across the board. Like looking through historically, it hasn't
Wow.
happened.
Yeah.
Mahomes Watson was one. Mahomes or it was like Allen Lamar versus Lamar Jackson was one. Like it hasn't happened a ton.
Probably Mahomes or Allen and Watson too. That same year that they
Yeah.
played. Yeah, that's crazy. So CJ can beat them with his legs too. Herbert was running on that defense. Woody Marks will open up the play action game. Yeah, hopefully. Trevor Lawrence is called the Prince. Oh, well,
Oh,
I guess you're right. I have forgot about that. I mean, that's crazy, bro. Like he's had
yeah.
such a rough up and down start to his career, man. I mean, you
Yeah.
know, really, there's got to be a gut wrenching loss for them last week because really they should have won that game. You know what I mean? The Jaguars should have won that game, and to kind of have your season ended like that, bro, is tough. Um, Texan, shout out to Texan, says the key to this game is this: if they can let Drake May run for first downs, we will be in trouble. I mean, maybe, but that's the thing. Like, how many first downs do you see him actually getting? I mean, I don't think. I mean, I think whenever he runs the ball, I feel like that's an opportunity to punish him. You know, so like Josh said earlier, I kind of feel like if they kind of have to start resorting to that, you know what I mean, because the pressure's getting there and his initial reads are covered, and then at that point, that's when we can start setting that spy out there, man, to like, you know. kind of just come closer to the line and just whenever he makes a step either wrong way, just go and hit him, man. I want Drake May like if they beat us because Drake May ran a little bit, then you know we weren't doing enough on offense, particularly because like if I mean I don't feel like Drake May is like a guy that is like he's not no Lamar Jackson type guy. He's a good runner for sure, but I think that like man, if he's running the ball, I don't really have a problem with it as long as it's not too much, and as long as we're able like to tag him. You know what I'm saying? We got to be closing in. As soon as he takes off, we have to be closing in because I don't want him to just get free slides. I feel like we have to hit him, you know, every single time. So I mean, Josh, what do you think?
No, I agree. Man, it's like a rope a dope situation where they may feel like they're getting somewhere, but in reality, you're just getting them getting closer and closer. And that one time he doesn't slide, you can just kind of, I mean, take him out of the game in some ways. Like young guys, like he's a tough sob. Like I have mad respect for Drake May as a quarterback and everything, but man, it's different when when you get hit like that and you have to then bounce back and continue to, especially if they're, I mean, all this is predicated like if he's running the ball and they're running it on us, that's where I think you have problems because then that opens up the run game, that opens up the play action, that opens up the quick game. I think everything more ties into are they running the ball or not, and that tells me one or yes or no whether this is a game that is really worrying me, kind of moving down the stretch.
Yeah, yeah, 100%, man. So T Law choked in the last 60 seconds with the 90. The crazy thing about that, man, is it looked like Parker Washington had his man beat like deep on that play too. So he didn't have, and there was no real pressure there. I don't believe so. Yeah, man. Unfortunate. I think he was leading rusher against the Chargers. Yeah, I mean, but see, like that's the thing though. I mean, the Chargers held at the end of the day, he wasn't great in that game either. You know what I mean? If you stop the run, man, I mean, they basically they stopped the run. At the end of the day, the Chargers held them to 16 points. I mean, if we hold them to 16 points, like we have to find a way to get a touchdown and 3 field goals. So I guess I mean another thing we haven't talked about at all is we're closing is Kaimi Fairbairn. I mean, honestly, CJ Stroud, or not even, I don't want to just blame him specifically, but the offense struggling the way it is, man, it puts a lot of pressure on Kaimi Fairbairn. Really, it puts that's honestly, it's honestly almost more pressure on him than the defense, even. You know,
Yeah,
but,
yeah. It's an outdoor game in New England is that's a tough place to kick, man. That's why Vinatieri was so valuable for them for so many years. That's a tough place. The way the wind is and how their stadium's set up and everything. The way it's the dynamics of the air are in there. It's like it's tough, man.
so,
He's that's someone we. It's a great point that we haven't even mentioned him, but the special teams, man, they're gonna have to make some plays in this game for us to kind of make up for what we're gonna be missing with Nico.
yeah. All right, y'all. This is the last comment. Um, Patrick Mahomes resorted to scrambling against this defense, and we saw that ended. Yeah, Texas for the win. I agree, man. I think if you're making the quarterback scramble, then I feel like that's kind of perfect. You kind of play right into our doghouse. And I mean, let's face it. I mean, the goal is to knock the quarterback out of the game. So if
Right.
you're running, we have more opportunities to do that. All right, y'all, man. So again, we appreciate 130 people watching us, man. 125, 126 from my Twitter. Appreciate y'all, man. If you aren't following us, oh, our ads aren't showing today. Well, if you aren't following us, man, make sure you follow us on Twitter. My Twitter I handle is
Here
oh
they
there you
are.
go. There you go. That's those are Twitter handles, man. Make sure y'all follow us. If you want to support the channel, man, leave us a super chat. I believe you can even super chat after the stream is over. If you want to support the channel without super chatting, man, become a member, man. Join the channel. You'll have access to all of the videos early. You'll get different little emoticons, emotes, things that you could do while we're talking. And also, like I said, I'm gonna start a Discord very soon. 713 Football will have a Discord. If you want to be added to the group chat on Twitter, we will do that as well, man. Make sure y'all stay blessed, man. Have a good day. And yeah, me and Josh, we're probably gonna end up going into the off season. Not that that's gonna start this week, but we will
No,
probably
long
have
long
maybe,
way away. Off season's
yeah,
long way away.
yeah. We will. We're gonna make some more draft videos, man. Leave us comments. Let us know what y'all are looking like. Any kind of draft questions, team building questions you have, man. And I think we're gonna end up probably, instead of just having these random times, man. We'll probably set up a set time that we go live, especially in the off season, to kind of keep y'all regulated, man. So make sure y'all share us, man, with your Texan friends, bro. And man, peace, man. Thank y'all for watching.